let's get cracking. United Motorsports moment of the week, of course. I think this is a second Pro Motocross Championship. Jett Lawrence taking it. Really, no surprise. Really incredible. If you consider, and Johnny O talked about it. JT got a little soundbite from Johnny O and that second 450 main, I believe it was. Just the journey coming back from the ACL. Very tough to do in a short amount of time. Just shows you in medicine today, I feel like, where the resources are and how many resources these great athletes have and how quick they can come back. And then, obviously his dedication and his internal team with Doc G alongside of him, Osho alongside of him, great physios. He did it in dominating fashion, in my opinion. And again, not surprised, but nevertheless, pretty freaking impressive, dude.
Yeah, it is. And I think Doc G made a, like at the end of, towards the end of the podium, Doc G was on there on the broadcast. And there's people that we've all seen in all different realms of different sports, the pedigree of the athlete itself, regardless of the team, the rider, how special they are on the actual riding itself. But going back to the injury, how quick he came back, there's just some guys that heal quicker or that are special in that regard. And I think Jett's one of those. Jock G said it really well on the broadcast. Like, yeah, they did all jump through all the hoops, did all the physio, 2-3 times a day. But to see how quick that Jett came back from his ACL and getting back into winning fashion was not everybody can do that. We have everybody on the line is a special athlete, but then you really come down and you really break it down and how quick can they come back from injury? How long does it take? I think that's what I think has to be highlighted also for Jett is just his genetics, right? Like there's some guys that are just a little bit different. And I would say he's probably one of those guys out there that are a little bit special in that area.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think he's a generational talent, RV. I really do. I think outside of injuries, again, and I've said it a million times, I think he has all the tangibles to break all the records, whether it's mine, yours, everybody. I mean, 72 Supercross wins is going to be really, really tough. He's been outspoken about that, said that would be awesome. I think that's a great goal to have. However, there's a lot more races, a lot more years it's going to take to have that, to make that happen. But nevertheless, I think his bike skill is unbelievable. Yeah, all this stuff that we've always talked about. So not a surprise, but it kind of brings me to what Bryce Mahan 13 wrote in. Pretty good question, and it's what you said, RV. How much more does a championship mean after injury? I think that Doc G explained it pretty well, and the thoughts that Jett was going through. He shared, some of the things that Jett had said. Remember, like, what did he say? Jett was worried if he was ever going to win another championship again. And where does this championship by Jett rank to you amongst his other victories? I mean, I think it's just as special as any other RV. Like for me, when I came back from my ACL in 04 and was able to go undefeated, it was awesome because your mind, I mean, I always believed in myself, but your mind can play tricks on you. And it was just validation to go out there and know that you still can win and you're still the same guy.
Yeah, your mind wanders, like you said. You start thinking, especially with a little bit of time off. I know I dealt with that, not necessarily with my knee or my knees, I should say, my left knee alone, but
Mhm.
because it was always my left ACL. But like with my lower leg and ankle, St. Louis, everybody saw me jump off the bike. Like that was a 3-month deal that I was off the motorcycle. And it was much gnarly. It was the most gnarly, the biggest injury that I had. Ligaments, bones, things like that. That all got fixed pretty easily. But fixing my lower leg was a bit tougher, and the time on the couch, I went through 2 different surgeries that were 8 hours and 9 hours to fix my lower leg. And
Damn.
that's where you have, like, your mind starts to wander and you're like, okay, I had an insurance policy on myself, right? That I could have collected tax free a bunch of money. And then that's why I was like, should I retire? Should I keep racing? Like if I retire now, I'll be fine. But those are all the things that you don't, like I said, your mind wanders and you don't know if you, not necessarily can you do it again, because like you said, you still believe in yourself, but the time on the couch is idle time is the tough part for an athlete like Jett or you, RC, or myself, or any one of these athletes. Idle time is sometimes the worst time. But you got to overcome that. And also the body and mind play tricks on you. Eventually, like what happens for me is like the pain is one thing, right? And then eventually the body forgets that, and it's only a memory at that point. Oh, I remember how bad it hurt. So as long as you can reverse that and play tricks on your mind and be like, no, we're getting back out there. We're gonna get back to where we left off in our winning ways, and that's exactly what Jett did.
Yeah, I think too, like you brought up a great point, is like you start spinning, you get wrapped around the axle, especially in that time before, like at least for me, before I could start physical therapy and each day, then you start going and then you have something that you're working towards each day. I feel like it was the first, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks where you're just sitting there and you're still in a lot of pain from the procedure and you're really not doing much. That was like the couple of weeks where I'm like, oh man, is this the end? Will I ever win again? And you just start thinking. But then once I was able, like I said, to go to therapy and then start working on your range of motion and then start working on your strength. And then you're starting to do cardio again. At that stage, I feel like those thoughts of maybe not winning again started to go away. It was just
Yep.
like, then my focus kind of turned RV to like, okay, I'm ready to get out there, see where I'm at. And if I'm not up to par, okay, well then how do I get better there? But yeah, it's crazy to think though, when you, like, we know how good Jett is, but for him to question himself, but I think I think a lot of athletes do that. They question themselves once in a while, but that's what makes him special. He
Exactly.
doesn't think that. I don't think he always thinks that he's better. And I don't know, like it's hard to say. Like you want to believe that you're better than your competition, but I think he also respects his competition. So that thought of him wondering if he's ever going to win a championship again just shows you how scared he is of not being the best, which is that's a scary combination, dude. Scary
That, and also it
combination.
shows you that he's still human too, right? Like that he still deals with the same thing, say Hunter or RJ or any
Yep.
one of those other racers or athletes. They all deal with that at some point in time in their career, maybe multiple times throughout the season.
Mhm.
Um, but you got to fight through it.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports. If you enjoyed what you just watched, well, it's time to bring the action and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel. You can have it all: news, highlights, interviews, and analysis. So go for it.